Hello, this is Larry Gonzales with your housing market update for the week of 16 January 2023. And where do we start? With rates, pricing, and inventory. Go to pricing. Pricing is stable. Pricing is going to change. Mark my word, especially as we get into the spring. We'll get into that. Inventory. Inventory is up. Not a lot, though, but it is up. And rates. Here's the really good news, guys. Rates are down. That's right. Rates are down, and they're going to continue to go down. Just not a straight line, because it's going to go up and down, but overall it's going to go down. So let's look at what caused our market to shift this week. The big news was inflation. The producer price index came out on Wednesday, and that is a measure of the wholesale inflation. That is the inflation that the people who produce goods have to deal with when they're making those goods and selling those goods to us, the consumer. That had a huge drop this month. And this is measuring the month of December. It dropped 0.5% month over month. Year over year went from 7.2 down to 6.2%. Huge drop. Core, which strips out food and energy, dropped from 6.2 to 5.5%. The expectation is that it will come down to 5.7%. So that's a big change. And that change should roll downhill and positively affect inflation for consumers in the following months. Now, we may not see that big an improvement over the course of the next couple months, but we should see overall improvement. And what happened what happened on Wednesday? Well, the 10-year Treasury, which at one point was in the fours, dropped below 3.4. Ended the day on Wednesday slightly above 3.4, but that was a huge drop, a 16 basis point drop. And mortgage rates, they're not directly related. Indirectly, they're related. They typically follow each other in sync. Interest rates on Wednesday dropped pretty significantly. If you look at the charts, 30-year fixed rate, we are, how do you do that? Knocking on the door of 6% and getting into that 5 percentile range, and VA is squarely in the high fives. And a lot of this depends on your credit score. Credit score is a huge determinant, but gosh darn it, we are moving in the right direction, folks. That is great news. We had some other reports that show that the Fed's actions that they have taken, this 3 75 basis point hikes in a row, the 50 basis point hike to the Fed funds rate in December, are starting to take effect. Retail sales were down 1.1% in December. That's a holiday season. Why were they down? Well, cost of goods, too expensive, and two, the cost of credit, too expensive. When you raise that Fed funds rate, that credit card rate goes up, and people don't have that money saved up like they did during the pandemic. So retail sales down. That shows that the Fed's actions are working. The big question is, when are they going to stop? When are they going to stop raising the Fed funds rate, or when are they going to start lowering the Fed funds rate? I got news for you, folks. They're not going to lower the Fed funds rate until we get down to 2% inflation across the board. We're not there yet. We're getting there, but we're really not close enough. We were stagnant in the 6s, 7s. The peak was 11% PPI back in March. And we've been on a pretty good decline when you look at the chart, but not there yet. And the Fed doesn't want to make the mistake of letting the foot off the brake, lifting the foot off the jugular of inflation too early. So what does this mean with interest rates? How about buyers? Buyers are coming back, folks. 25% increase week over week in mortgage applications. We're still down 35% year over year, but buyers are waking up. They're not hibernating. They see rates in the fives. They hear about rates nearing the 5% range, and they're waking up because you know what? People need a house to live in. While rent prices are slowing, rent prices are still very high. So buyers are coming out of the woodworks. And are you going to hibernate and miss the boat or the bear? I don't know. Don't do it. So another piece of good news for the housing department. I have good news this week. Aren't you happy? Woo, I'm happy. National Association of Home Builders. They are still bearish overall, but for the first time in 12 months, their sentiment the home builder sentiment actually rose. It rose 4 points up to 35. 50 or above, it's a index from 0 to 100. Anything below 50 is contraction. Anything above 50 is expansion. Rose 4 points up to 35. Not quite expansion, but not quite as bearish as it was before. So from a buyer traffic was up, building sentiment was up. So that's good news. One of the reasons why builders are still bullish, really, it's 3 reasons. The cost to build, supply chain issues. We still don't have everything we need to build homes. Cost of lumber actually just skyrocketed this week. And you know what? Affordability for buyers. That's why buyer sentiment is in the 30s right now instead of being above 50. But as rates continue to go down, you'll see more buyers out. And you know what? We take for granted this beautiful weather we have in Hawaii, but do you really want to go look for a house in North Dakota? It's freaking cold outside. No, you don't. So you don't have as much buyer traffic, in the wintertime. So where are we at with rates? Again, we're squarely in the 5s for VA, really close to the 5s for conventional. These are 4-month lows. These are 4-month lows from our peak in October. So that is some great news. And we have pretty good inventory right now. You go around any street, certainly down on the windward side. Hey, how about the leeward side where I live? As you go into the leeward side, you're driving around on Kapolei Parkway, Fort Weaver, Keoneula Boulevard, you see a lot of for sale signs. And I talked to a realtor today. She's got 8 listings. She had some pretty good traffic on a few this past weekend. Some that she didn't have, so she didn't have much traffic on. And those are kind of the higher priced homes. But guess what? Get out there now. If you're a buyer, while the sellers are still kind of they're a little frightened of what this market's going to entail, and they need to sell their home. So you want to make sure that you get out before everyone else does. Again, you don't want to miss out. All right, FOMO, fear of missing out. That's all I got for you this week. Please don't forget to comment, like, or subscribe. A very good week for the housing market from the standpoint of affordability. We're getting back into that range again. All right, and prices aren't escalating. But I will tell you this, one last thing. I've had 2 clients put in offers this week, and for the first time in a while, they were competing with other offers. Nothing crazy on the price, but when you start competing with other buyers, those seller credits start to go away. Something to think about. All right, have a great weekend. Aloha.